All right. Good evening, guys. Welcome back to Buzz and Brew podcast. It's your Queen Bee host, Zenaria Brown, and then we have a special guest of 16 years of blood, or should we say bees, sweat, and trial and error, blood, sweat, and tears of many years of beekeeping, Mr. Carlos Hernandez.
Yes, ma'am.
We just want to thank you so much for being here with us. We're excited. You're a skilled man, you're a hardworking man, and you got some knowledge that you can share with the general public.
Well, I suppose I do.
Yes, sir. 16 years versus a young beekeeping family like us.
Well, I haven't been beekeeping for 16 years. I've been working with honeybees. I think this is my 17th year now.
Oh, wow.
I started off as a remover.
Okay.
A friend of mine answered an ad for drywall work. He was a drywall guy, and it turned out to be somebody who needed help doing bee removals and putting drywall back when you were done. So he went and did that, and then needed help, so I went along to help him and liked it and been doing that ever since.
Okay.
The actual beekeeping part of it, I still consider myself new at it. A few years.
Yeah.
Not too long. My primary focus has always been on the removals. Just before I was keeping bees, I would give all the bees away.
Give them away.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Mr. Carlos, the Texas bee removal, that is your official business. And since you focus on the bee removal side, for one, everyone can't keep bees. And for two, everyone can't do a good bee removal job, meaning get the honeycomb out, meaning find the queen, the important part, and then the part that a lot of people may go a different avenue is hiring somebody to clean it all up to look like no one was even there. You touch on all three. And so when did Texas bee removal become an official business?
Right around 16, 17 years ago, so 2010, 2009. Excuse me, I came into the industry when it was still fairly new. Before I had come into the industry, about 20 years ago or so, you may have heard, bees went through what was called colony collapse disorder, where we lost about 45% of the commercial colonies across the board. And at that time, it was the largest loss in recorded history of honeybees. So before that, people didn't really have a problem with killing bees. Get the pest control, spray them, and be done. After that, people started realizing how important bees were and started looking for other avenues besides killing them. And so they started calling beekeepers. Yeah. And then beekeepers eventually started turning into bee removers, and that's how the industry was born. And so I came in right at the beginning, not quite the beginning, but back then, and so my whole focus has always been on the removal and relocation. Okay. Up until I started my nonprofit, Bee and Me, and then now I need the bees myself to be able to use the bees to help support the nonprofit and teach kids. Okay. Now, the collapse that you mentioned years ago versus the collapse that's, I would say, recent to a lot of people, what do you think the difference is in between those two? In a number of ways. First off, with the first issue, we never really got a definitive answer on what was the problem. Me and most beekeepers, I would say, I can't say for sure most, but from being in the industry, keep your ears open, you hear a lot. Pesticides have been a big problem. Pesticides have been a big problem, and then pathogens, and then pests, varroa mites, that thing. But this time around, last year, we actually went through a worse colony collapse. It turned out to be about 60% across the board. Do you believe it's worse than the first collapse you saw? The first one was 45%. This one, I think, 62%, somewhere's in there. So it was worse than last time. And samples went out, studies were done, and conclusions were drawn, and speculations. It's pests and pathogens, and then pesticides. They would name those in that order. A lot of them would name in that particular order. But It's hard to believe that to be the case when you've got bees that come from this state and bees that come from this state and over there, and not every one of those beekeepers are using any kind of pesticides, or maybe they are using them, or they're managing their varroa mites different than these guys. There's not a lot of consistency among how all that is managed like that.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say, oh yeah, it was pests.
Yeah.
Well, these guys don't have a pest problem. How did they die if it wasn't a pest problem?
So this current collapse is hard to determine, but
it's the same as with last time. They're going to give you mixed reviews on things, but when you start to say, well, how come these died and these didn't, and there's no, the only common denominator is everybody being in the fields across the country, pollinating, which is what we want them for, right? But you go to the almond groves, for instance, in February, pretty much every bee in the commercial sector is there in the almond groves in February in California. So that's a common denominator. What's going on in the almond groves? Maybe something's going on there.
Yeah.
We don't know. What about the melons? What about the orchards?
Yeah.
But those are common denominators, and that's where you find pesticides.
Okay. Well, we're going to go back a little bit because I know I quickly went to a place and we can deep dive all day about bees, but going back to you as the founder of the Bee and Me 501c3 nonprofit and your business Texas Bee Removal, those two things, before they came about, what was it that stood out to you that said, all right, well, I'm dealing with bees, I'm choosing bees for my path?
I don't think that was my choice. I think I was put on that path by the Lord, so here I am.
Yeah.
I love what I do. I live every bit of it.
Yeah.
All of it. I feel blessed every morning to be able to get up and do my job. Sometimes I'm out there and it's not so fun, but...
Why is that?
When you're 40 feet up in a tree, for instance, with a chainsaw or a 2-foot drill bit drilling into a hole with tens of thousands of bees that want to kill you on a 100-degree Texas summer day that wants to kill you.
Do you wear suits?
Not always.
Okay.
In a situation like that, I would, though.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether the bees are good or not.
Yeah.
You can get into a problem real fast.
You don't want to be falling off of equipment that high up.
Exactly.
From a sting or two here. What was the first experience that you had with bees where you either removed them or you started caring for them?
Well, I don't know the exact first one. That was nearly 20 years ago.
You don't remember?
None really stand out. I guess maybe there was one where I removed a colony. I didn't actually remove the whole colony. They were in a birdhouse.
Okay.
And so I just collected the birdhouse and I put the birdhouse in my backyard, and those were my bees that I kept for quite a few years. The first colony of bees I ever kept.
Did someone call you out for that job?
Yes, that was a removal job.
So I want to get to the point of how did people even know to call you? What was it that they saw to call you?
Well, at first I would do ads on Craigslist and on Facebook, wherever I could find. And as time went on and more and more people knew the type of work I did, then I would start getting more and more referrals. And that's how I get my work now. I don't do any advertising anymore.
Yeah.
Like when you hear my phone dinging, it's probably somebody wanting bees to be removed.
That's a good feeling when you don't have to advertise and people are calling you, hey, plus it's spring, this is the time, this is the prime time for a beekeeper to make most of his money.
April, I don't know if you know, with the Bee and Me, the nonprofit, a couple of years ago, you know, the honeybees considered the most important animal on Earth, and without the honeybees, we'd have a hard time with food supply. Yeah. And we have a World Bee Day, and we have a Honeybee Awareness Day. But being that they're the most important animal on Earth, I figured that they deserved more recognition than a day. So the nonprofit petitioned the city of Houston to proclaim April, we are in April, as Honeybee Awareness Month in the city of Houston, and we were successful. So they invited us down to City Hall, and we got to meet all the council and the mayor, and they read off this proclamation and signed it and stuff. And so, yeah, now, spring, April, that's the time. So it's Honeybee Awareness Month in the city.
Okay, it's Honeybee Awareness Month. Hey, somebody's gonna learn something, and I'm already learning things, so this is the main point. And then to highlight your nonprofit, highlight your business, this is why we got you here.
We really need that. I think that this nonprofit, people don't understand what nonprofit means, what the purpose of it is, and like my dad, for instance, he doesn't understand. And I tell him I'm doing stuff for the nonprofit. And then I put my money, I invested in my nonprofit. How are you gonna? You got to pay your bills. How are you gonna make a living if you're not making any money? Well,
Yeah.
the nonprofit is its own entity. It doesn't make money. It still needs to have people to run it and get paid for running it.
And a part of what you're saying, the nonprofit, specifically the BME, right, takes service with your hands. And that may be showing up somewhere, that may be teaching children, that may be just showing somebody what a bee removal is. And you could tell me more about that, but you are focusing on, or while you're talking about the frustration that other people may have had, such as your father, what kind of frustrations did you have while putting this together? Was it something simple as somebody has to change how people understand bees? What was the frustration for you to say, okay, I'm going to make this nonprofit and this is why it's important to me?
Well, the reason why I came up with the nonprofit a little over 10 years ago, I think it's a little over 10 years ago, I fell off of a roof doing a removal and I broke my back in 3 places. And I broke this wrist straight across. It was bent like that right here. Both bones were straight across.
Oh, wow.
Ended up in a military trauma center intensive care unit for 3 days, and the injury still affects me today. It wasn't that big a deal really until I had my kid. I have a 7-year-old now. And when I had him, my focus changed a little bit on further down into the future, because I love what I do with removals, but it's dangerous.
Yeah.
And me having him, especially at a later stage in life, I can't afford to go to work and not come home to him.
Yeah.
He's still too young. He needs me. So I've tried to figure something else out. What can I do besides removals?
Yeah, something that's safe.
Maybe I can get into beekeeping and just do beekeeping, but I need a place to put the bees. And I have places I can put the bees now. But I want to do more than that. When I was talking to a friend of mine, Paul, he passed away a couple of years ago, and he had he was a certified youth counselor, and he lived across the street from Santa Fe High School, and a few years back when that kid shot it up. And so he was counseling a lot of them kids at the time, and I was telling him, I got to figure something else out, Paul, and he's put the bug in my ear about, well, maybe you should try and teach people what you learned. And through bees, working with bees, and I got to thinking about it, and I thought, well, maybe there's something there, but I don't want to be somebody teaching people how to be a beekeeper, because you can find that all day long. I thought there was something more to my calling than that. And then I thought, well, maybe I should be teaching people about what bees really are like, as opposed to what you might see on camera, or how situations have made you feel about them.
Yeah, it made you, prior to me coming in this world of bees, I was scared like everybody else. I was swatting them, trying to run away from them, but then I had the realization the bees really not trying to focus on me. They don't focus on me at all.
So I thought, let me go ahead and jump off this bridge and see what I can do with the nonprofit, and came up with my mission that I want to get out there and teach kids. What we do is we teach kids how to live with bees, average everyday situations, the pool, the park, barbecue, in the backyard, in the garden. We teach them how to use beneficial insects to reduce their pesticide footprint in the environment. We teach them how to use a co-plant with beneficial plants that bring the good insects in and push the bad insects out to protect the ecosystem. We teach them how important they are to our environment as a whole, and how important they are to our food supply.
Okay.
That's the thing.
Do you bring a live hive, a demonstration hive with you?
We have an observation hive we
Okay.
bring with them, and the kids, every time they see them, they love it. It's like a big old ant farm, and their eyes light up, and they're, wow, this is amazing. So
Yeah.
you get to really see the inner workings of a hive.
Of a beehive. Now, do you prep your observation hive weeks before, or do you
No.
keep bees in there to live throughout the year?
No, it's a temporary thing.
Okay.
I mean, there are hives that you can keep some in for longer periods of time, but this one, generally no more than a couple of days.
Okay.
You know, there's a spot where I can feed them, and I can keep them in there.
Yeah.
They're secure, but really, you got to be able to do what bees do.
Yeah. Okay. And when it comes to teaching children, you have been to some schools, you've hosted events where you did all of these things. What does that communication look like talking to maybe a 5-year-old versus a student in college or an adult who don't understand bees or have a misconception about bees and what they really do?
That can be a huge contrast. We in the beginning, we would do ages from first grade below. But we found that the kids like it, but they don't really absorb a lot. It's just a fun day to them. And so we focus on first grade and above.
Okay.
6-year-olds and up, and they tend to have a little bit more of a grasp, a concept of what's going on and what they're learning. They can be fun. They're a little challenging at times because you've got so many different personalities. We try to keep groups to 15 or so, because the more you have, the harder it is to keep them focused in on over here. And we have a little more of a dialogue in high school. They'll ask more in-depth questions as opposed to second graders raising their hand and they want to tell you about their grandma that got stung by this ant over here, blah, blah, blah. It had to do with the bee thing.
Yeah.
But you got to listen to them.
So what is something that you say to a 6th grader about bees? I know you say you teach them about like insecticides, but what is something that you say that you realize that they absorb and they, that's cool information?
Good one. That's a good question. I don't really have a written down curriculum with them. I just feel the room, and I have different bullet points in my head that I want to talk to them about, like the dandelion. I like to drive home how important the dandelion is. It's very important to the bee. The ladybug.
Okay.
These are
Why is the ladybug important to the bee?
Because the ladybug is an amazing pest control unit, whatever you want to call it, insect. It's amazing. You put it in your yard, your garden, and in a day, if you have aphids, an issue with aphids done, they're super beneficial in the environment, which means you don't have to be putting pesticides in the environment, which means pesticides aren't messing with the pollinators, not just honeybees, but all bees, butterflies, caterpillars, anything that's going to be good for the environment. A pesticide, insecticide is not good for.
Yeah, I did not know that about ladybugs, but it's a part of nature.
Those are two things with the first graders, 5th graders, and all them, that they can understand that. It's a flower, it's pretty, they can blow it with the seeds go everywhere. And ladybugs, everybody loves the ladybugs. And we try to put in the thought in their head that there's other options besides an insecticide.
Yeah.
We leave it a little more simplistic for them. I'm going to give you this information that you can keep with you and go, hey, well, maybe there's an alternative.
Yeah.
As opposed to talking to you directly about the alternative.
Right. And as they grow, starting that young, in the back of their mind, their subconscious, they're thinking about ways to make Earth better or help the honeybee survive.
Exactly.
Something very, very, that we should be doing anyway.
Exactly.
All right. So now the strategy of nonprofit and funding. Why build a nonprofit around education instead of simply expanding on the bee removal business? Well, you already talked about that because you said you want to kind of be safe and be there for your son.
Well, my bee removal business is for profit. That's how I pay my bills. And pretty much that's how I support the nonprofit, because I donate a large portion of my income to the funding the nonprofit so that we can get in there to talk to the kids and we can go out to these events and get our name out there. Okay.
Do you have a website, or what's the best way for somebody to contact you for it?
You can go to our website,
The Bee and Me.
the beeandme.org.
Okay.
We're on Facebook, The Bee and Me. We're on Instagram. We don't do a whole lot of X, but you know, it's there. But if you go to our website, thebeeandme.org, There's links to everything.
All right. And what does a healthy balance look like between mission, money, and burnout in your world? Because it can be real repetitive with bee removals and talking about bees.
I like that some situations with bee removal is repetitive because I already know what I'm going to do
Yeah.
when my boots hit the floor.
Yeah.
And I like to be efficient, so I get in and get out as quick as I can, efficiently as I can, get the job done right. So I'm not intruding on the customer anymore, and everybody's happy and go your own way. Burnout, that can happen when you do a lot of work, and I've experienced it before.
Yeah.
Because I tend to work 5-7 days a week.
Oh, wow.
From now till October.
Okay, so you're working all the way up until October. That's good.
And solid. And then I have to fit in being a dad and taking care of my house. And then I have to also fit in going to the schools and teaching kids.
Yeah.
And then managing a nonprofit also. I've got to be the one that makes those certificates of achievement for them and printing things out and putting things together and packaging seeds and jarring honey for our gifts and doing any social media that we do.
So right now you're pretty busy.
Stay busy.
Yeah, it's springtime. What beekeeper is not busy right now?
And then I keep bees on top of that too now. So
do you have bees in your backyard?
On the side of my house I have them.
Yeah.
So when I remove a colony, I bring them home. I house them in one of those white boxes you see them in. Get them set up there, and then I move them to my apiary either in Pinehurst or out in Waller, and then sometimes out in LaPorte.
All right, how many bees do you have, or bee colony?
I have around 20.
20, okay. And then other than managing those 20, you're doing your bee removals and your education. Okay. Now, what is the single most damaging myth about bees that popular culture keeps feeding people?
There's reason behind things, but the reasons are wrong.
Yeah.
The moniker killer bees.
Yeah.
Okay. Any colony of honeybees can kill people, somebody. It's just a matter of their disposition that is the difference. So that moniker, oh, killer bees, well, all bees can be there. That brings instant fear to somebody. Oh, killer bees, they're Africanized is what they are.
Yeah.
And they have the African honeybee DNA in them, some degree more than others, and that makes a difference in how they act, how they respond.
Now, what's your take on Africanized bees? This is totally not asked for, but in my opinion, as human beings, we have the ability to change things and alter genetics and learn different things about bees. But in my perspective, I don't think we should try to alter it, because this is natural for the bee to have these instincts to fight off what they're supposed to be a little aggressive, because this is them naturally.
You're 100% correct. That's why the Africanized bee is the way it is, because its environment requires it to be a little more, well, I was going to say a little more defensive, but it's aggressive.
Yeah.
There's a difference between aggression and defensive. Us sitting here right now and a colony of bees being right there, coming after us and we're not doing anything, that's aggression.
Yeah.
The bees sitting there doing nothing and us go poking them and then they come after us, that's defensive.
Yeah.
And the Africanized bees, their environment requires them to be a little more aggressive, defensive. The reason why they exist here now is because somebody was trying to combine the European easygoing bee with the Africanized bee, because the Africanized bee produces more honey, faster rate.
Yeah. Of course, it's to a human's benefit.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And they were trying to eventually get that aggression DNA out of there. Yeah. Of course, that didn't happen. Some of them escaped, and now they're out in the environment.
Now, how are your bees? Are they docile, aggressive?
Usually they're not aggressive. I don't keep aggressive bees around. If I have a colony of aggressive bees in a red flag zone, I know some beekeepers that like those type of bees. They're seasoned veteran beekeepers. They know what they're getting their hands into. They have a spot that they can keep the bees far away from people. But it's getting fewer and fewer, though, because they're just so difficult to manage. And honestly, it can be a liability and very dangerous to have them around. But normally, bees are not aggressive like that, you would think. If I do 10 removals, 9 of them, I'm in shorts, t-shirt, and a baseball cap. And I'm not getting attacked.
Yeah.
So I know that I can bring those bees home for a little while and put them in my apiary, and they're not going to be too crazy.
All right. So as a Texas bee remover, that's your business, but Texas bee remover as yourself, everybody think they can be shirtless or.
I don't recommend it. Do not recommend it. I've been doing this for a long time, and I've learned that Mother Nature talks to you. You just have to listen, and it's not always words here and there. You have to pay attention to her.
What are some things that you pay attention to get you to the point where you can, if you would like to, work with bees without a suit on? What are those things to look out for?
Where they're located first. That's the safety. Sometimes bees that are in trees tend to be a little more resilient than bees in a soffit or in between floors of a home. Not to say that those can't be. Sometimes those can be some pretty mean bees. How their mannerisms are whenever I'm around.
Okay.
I ask the customer questions. Have people been stung? They come after people, mowing, weed eating, that thing. If they tell me no big deal, never had a problem, or they say, yeah, the other day they killed the neighbor's cat, that's about as red flag as you get, because you got a cat that doesn't make any noise and isn't going to bother the bees. There's no reason for those bees to go after the cat, and I've seen it before. And so those bees are about as red flag as you can get. They're killing a cat.
Something is going on in that colony. Yeah. Either the queen is not there, or they need more space. Something.
Africanized a lot. A dog barking, rah, 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 the vibration stuff, it's common for bees to go say, hey, they stung my dog, but not the cat.
Yeah. So when you go give a quote or go assess the bee problem right off bat by the area and what's going on to determine the state of those bees.
I already have an idea of it. And then once I get up there, when I show up, I smell, the bees have wonderful sense of smell. They smell everything. And so as soon as I show up, they're coming in, they're interested in what's going on. Well, who are you? What's happening? Yeah. And they talk to you. If they're just flying around, being curious, not a big deal. If they're coming over saying, hey, who are you? They'll talk. They'll be, let me see what the rest of y'all are, and stay out of their flight path. That's
a good thing to consider, because when people see bees, they immediately want to go run and see where they are and inspect it. But staying out of their flight pattern, their route is what will save you.
Yeah, and lots of times if you get stung in that situation, it's by accident because they bumped into you, didn't mean to come after you, or they're coming out, didn't mean to get you, but they got you anyway.
Now people ask us, do you get stung? And it's obviously, yes, getting stung is a part of the job. Was there a time in your life where you've got stung and you said, I might need to put this down, or I'm in it, there ain't no turning back?
I was removing a colony of Africanized bees from the back of this house. The lady had passed away and they had been there for a while, and all the TV stations were there, and I didn't have any. I had one pair of gloves. I gave it to one of the cameramen, and then I was working without gloves, and the reporter was behind me, and while I'm working the colony, a bunch of them just came out and just hit my hands. And so on live TV you can see them hitting me. And so we walked out the front of the house, and they were all over me. That day I probably got stung about 100 times. That day.
We've serviced a client where they had someone in their family have gotten stung that many times, and unfortunately they have passed. So that's crazy.
Due to the bee stings they passed? Yeah.
How did you react? You just continued the job?
I had a slight reaction, not that big a deal. That's one of the times in my life where I've had a little bit of a reaction, or a little tingling and stuff, but then in 15 minutes it was done.
Did you have to walk away, or you just continued on?
Well, we had to because it was just getting too, the bees were getting too violent.
Yeah, so you just had to let them calm down.
Exactly. So, and then I had other news reporters wanting to suit up and get video footage also.
They're crazy.
We go out in the front yard and then down the end of the block and change clothes and walk back over with some new reporters.
Yeah. What does your mother, father, or what does your son think about you doing bee removals? I mean, working with bees in general. Obviously, you've been doing it for a minute, but when you first started, did your family look at you like?
They don't really understand.
Yeah.
He does. My son's been on a number of jobs with me.
Oh, cool.
And he's been stung a number of times on jobs. And we've got bees around the house all the time, so that's the thing. Yeah, he understands. He actually goes to some of the presentations I do, and he'll talk
Yeah.
to the kids.
Yeah.
And give them
He'll share his
information.
experience.
Yeah.
That's cool. But your mom and dad, they don't understand?
My mom's gone. My dad doesn't. I mean, he's been to a job with me before, but he still doesn't understand exactly what the whole idea is.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think our family gets it either. However, they're very supportive. My mother-in-law, she'll get her nails done. Got it decked out bees. My father-in-law, he might purchase a box, tell people we got honey. So they support in their own unique way. But is our family suiting up? Probably not. So, all right, with bee removals and ethics, I know earlier off camera we talked about doing it right. What is your ethical line between save the bees and protect the people?
Well, first and foremost is safety, and some people, you got to learn to wrap your head around that and accept it, because if you've got an animal that can kill your neighbor or your neighbor's neighbor, and something has to be done about it. Safety first, by all means. If you want somebody to get 40 feet up into a tree with a chainsaw and deal with bees that are already coming down, if you got bees 40 feet up in a tree and they're coming down to get somebody, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Because that high up, they shouldn't be bothering nobody. And now you got somebody to get up there and get them alive, keep that person from dying or injured, keep other people in the neighborhood from getting injured or dying. You gotta weigh the, oh, you only want to pay $800. Well, I'll get up there. It's going to cost you $3,000 because you're going to have to rent a 50-foot lift, and we're going to have to tear this up and that up, and we'll get up there safely. And people don't want to do that.
And take your time to find that queen, because if you don't get the source of the hive, they're going to be there.
Well, I mean, even if you don't get the queen and you've got a few remaining bees, they're generally, it's not going to be a viable colony.
Yeah.
They live short lives, 6 to 8 weeks to begin with, and so once you've got the removal done, you've got all the honeycomb gone, you've got all the resources gone, you've got everybody else gone, you've got 100, 200, 400 bees left over, they can't recolonize.
Yeah.
They can't.
They can't survive.
No, they're already on their last leg to begin with if they're foragers, because and generally that's what it is. It's left over, the foragers coming back and, hey, where is everybody? And then now they're on the last end of their 6 to 8 weeks, so.
Yeah. Okay.
And nothing they can do.
Take us inside a case like the Dakin Park area colony. Well, was it the Minute Maid Stadium at the time when you did it?
I think so.
All right. So how was that job? How did they contact you, and take us through what that looked like?
Somebody had posted on Facebook that there were bees over there at the bush stinging people, and then the word got to me, and then so I called the city. The city knows who I am, and they said, yeah, go ahead, you can go get them. So we went out there and got them. Turned out that the colony that I found up in the tree, there was another small colony in the bush along the sidewalk. So when people were walking and bumping into the bush, they were stinging them coming out of the bush. And those may have been a swarm break off from the ones that were in the tree.
From the original colony.
Yeah, and so I think the call was originally for the ones that were in the bush, which is a small colony. Compared to this big old giant one in the tree. And I saw the big old giant one in the tree, and so I wanted to get in both of them.
How did you remove that one? Was it just you slowly vacuuming them, or with your hands? How did you remove
All
it?
of the above.
Yeah.
So yeah, usually when I'm doing a removal, I move the bees off of the. First, I smoke them for a little while, leave them on the honeycomb so they can gorge themselves, get some supplies in them, and then as I'm going along, I'll smoke them a little more and start to move them off the honeycomb. Okay. And then vacuum them.
Yeah.
If they're on the honeycomb, they can hold on tighter, and then you also wind up sucking in nectar or honey and stuff that gets inside the vacuum. So once you move them off of the honeycomb, then you can vacuum them up in large numbers.
Oh, thank you.
And then faster and easier, and then be able to take the honeycomb down a lot easier.
Now, I saw your contraption the other day. That was that was new to me, interesting. What was that? And over the years, I'm sure you have built many.
I've refined it, yeah. I have pictures of it when I used to make that out of concrete cardboard.
Wait, just so that
forms.
the people know what we're talking about, can you tell them?
It's my cage, my vacuum system. I have a tube that I built with mesh that goes inside another tube that you connect the vacuum to.
Now, it's real cool looking. I've never seen nothing like this. Over the years, have you built multiple of your own?
So I go through a lot of them, and I've built some for friends too. I mean, it's a pretty basic internal cage vacuum system. It's not anything fancy or special, or any bee vacuum system operates under the same idea.
And it had a hose connected to it?
Yeah, I've got a 35-foot hose that connects to it.
All right.
So when I'm up in the trees or something like that, I don't have to have the whole vacuum system with me. It's just a hose.
Okay. What do you wish the public understood about the difference between a swarm, a colony, and an emergency with the calls that you get to remove them?
So most of the time, swarms, people call in, and to them it's an emergency because it's a lot of bees and they're right there and they've never seen them before, and oh my gosh, they're going to attack us and gotta come and get them. But swarms are generally not defensive or aggressive. Not normally, there's nothing for them to be defensive or aggressive about. They're in transit, going from the old home to a new home. Mm-hmm. And so you can handle them a lot easier than you can with an established colony. Established colonies, people, when I get calls from them, generally they know they've been there for a while, a couple of weeks, couple of months, couple of years, mm-hmm. and they understand, they're prepared. Emergencies would be like the Dyken Park bees. Mm-hmm. You got a game and 30,000 people in the stadium that are going to be coming to these parking lots, and there's potential for people to be getting stung, and now you got people going to the hospital. So that's an emergency. Got to get them out.
Yeah.
Red flag, where you're going to have to put the bees down. Those don't come around very often. Sometimes, those are situations where you've got people working a roof or a tree.
Have you ever performed a bee removal on the roof?
Oh, many times.
Man, in the back of my mind, we did a bee removal on the roof and one in the attic, but this roof in particular is forever gonna stay there. And then I had to leave to go to Home Depot to get some caulk. I had to go get something, and to me, that was the best relief I had to leave this job site. But then little did I know, when I got there, I started to, I don't know, I was struggling that job. I know you have seen it all, you've done it all. Woo.
Once you understand ahead of time what you're getting into, and you got a plan.
Yeah.
I have to have a plan. Then it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
I don't mind going to the roof. The roof tends to be a little easier for me, more efficient, because I can access everything like this as opposed to like this.
And then being inside someone's home and you have it probably taped off, or you don't.
Bees, when they're in someone's home, they don't go crazy everywhere.
Yeah.
They just go to the nearest window to try to get out, or nearest light fixture that's turned on.
Yeah.
And they're attracted to the light. So
have most of your bee removals been from outside versus inside?
Usually from the outside. The ones that I do from the inside are generally between floors in the corner.
Yeah.
Because when the contractor builds your home, you're going to have joists running a certain way. And if I can get to them from outside here to the joist, great. But when they build a corner, the contractor will put a diagonal piece of wood. So you got this side of the house and you got this side of the house. Mm-hmm. And if they're on this side where you got joists, you can't get to them. Yeah. If you go from underneath in the corner, now you have access to both sides of that, from both sides. It's easier. Plus it's drywall, easy to put that.
Yeah. What's your take on cleaning up a job that a bee remover probably with less experience, and then you got to come clean the job up? It's probably messy, a whole lot of honeycomb.
It doesn't
maggots.
happen as often as it used to.
Yeah.
But I come up on jobs where somebody's done a job there before, and you can see, and it's a dead out, meaning you got wax moth and crud and nastiness, and it stinks and mold and fermented stuff. It's no fun. Yeah. To deal with that. Especially you're breathing that stuff in, and you don't know that if there's any residual pesticides that are there, that are being stirred up too. So yeah, I don't like those.
So as you have these new beekeepers on the scene, the beekeepers who specifically need to learn or make sure not to avoid these practices when doing bee removals, what's something that you would tell them to make sure it's done right?
Go with somebody who knows what they're doing first.
Yeah, that's it.
Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't guess at it. You really don't. You shouldn't be. There's some things you can guess at, but in situations where you're dealing with a bee that can hurt somebody, and then cutting into someone's house and you don't know what's behind the wall. Yeah. Or what to expect once you open something up. That's not the type of thing you want to just learn on your own when you have the opportunity, if you have the opportunity to work with somebody who has done that and knows. So,
and it doesn't seem like you had a mentor to...
No, I did not. I learned the hard way, pounding the streets, but I like to think I have a little bit of common sense in me, and I know that if I've got electrical stuff going into the wall there, that there's probably going to be electrical stuff in this wall, and I probably shouldn't be cutting it. You know, same thing with plumbing and things like that, and then I would stop at construction sites to see the bones of the house, to understand more about, okay, I can cut that, or oh, no, I don't cut that, or how do I repair this if I cut it?
After 16 years, I sure would hope so. No, but obviously we got you here because you have a lot of information that we're learning from. Now, with your community partnerships, what does it mean? What did it mean for you to have the Bee and Me, your nonprofit, publicly recognized by the city of Houston? How did that feel?
It was pretty cool. I liked that because it's something that I'm leaving for my son. If anything, trying to do something for the community, bring more awareness to the bee, change people's perspective on it. We teach people that you don't have to be afraid of them, but you have to respect them.
Yeah.
And there's a difference. I enjoyed it. I like being able to tell people this is what we've done, this is what we're doing. When I first started the nonprofit, it was a little bit difficult. A lot of my own money going out, still does. And people asking questions, okay, when I'm asking for donations, well, what do y'all do? Well, what do y'all do? And my response would have to be, well, this is what we want to do.
Yeah.
And now I don't have to say this is what we want to do. I can say, oh yeah, here, let me show you some pictures.
Yeah.
Here's some video. We're doing this. We're over here with the elementary school kids. See, I mean, we're over here with the middle school kids. Here we are with some junior high school kids. Oh, homeschool groups. Look at all these homeschool groups we do. Scout troops, here's some brownies. Here's some Girl Scouts. Here's some Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
That thing. Oh, helping out in the community. Look, we're saving bees over here. And then we have a proclamation for the city.
So that recognition from the city really shined a light on the growth over the years. There was many years where you weren't highlighted, but it specifically highlighted the community work, the impact that you've been putting in for so long. That's so cool. Now,
it really helps to bring confidence that we're going in the right direction.
Yeah. All right. Your work has shown up in places such as the Synagogue School Program and Rice Art Event. What kind of partners reach out to you?
Well, we haven't really had a lot of reaching out to us, per se. I don't know. We have people email us all the time to say, hey, we heard about your program and we'd like you to come and talk to our kids. As far as partnering goes, meaning, are you talking more like with sponsorship type partners?
Anybody that may have want you to come teach alongside and educate youth?
Oh yeah, it's a word of mouth thing. The more, for instance, with scout troops, once you've done one of them, then the other ones learn about it, and they learn about it. And now everybody wants you to go there and teach their scout troop. Homeschool groups can be that way too, because they have their own little circle, and they don't get a lot when it comes to those kids being able to experience stuff like that. They're kind of left to the side. So I really like doing the homeschoolers. That comes from word of mouth as well. And then HISD, a lot of that.
All right.
PTAs, PTOs.
Yeah, and reaching people. What does your idea for long-term community partnership look like as you're expanding and growing and these people are calling you and people are learning about you? What does long-term partnerships look like in your nonprofit?
So we're getting to that stage to where we're going to be needing long-term partners, corporate partnerships, not just here's a donation, here's a grant.
Yeah.
We would love to have a few along for the ride 5-6 years down the road to help and to rely on them. Our ultimate goal, and the reason for that, we're going to need that, and we're about there now.
Yeah.
But we haven't been. So what we've been doing in the beginning is establishing the name, getting out there in the community and doing some good work in the community, and honing and establishing curriculum. We know how long we want to be in this classroom with these first, second, third graders, fifth graders, different time frames and stuff, and curriculum is different. So getting all that honed in. And then the ultimate is to have property, get about 100 acres maybe. It doesn't have to be that many, but about, and build a facility and bus the kids there.
Yeah.
Instead of going to them.
Yeah, they can come out to you.
We're going to bring them out, and we'll bus them there, bring them in, set them up in a classroom type of environment, talk to them for a little bit about the bees, take them out on a tram onto the property where we'll have bees, an apiary out there. They can visually see them with 10, 12 acres worth of gardens, plants, fruits, vegetables and stuff. And so we can talk to them about this is bees are pollinating all this stuff here. And then from there, take them into the extraction room, we call the sweet room, where they can see how honey's extracted, bottled, jarred, wax rendered, that kind of thing. And then bring them back into the facility, into the cafeteria, just like a school cafeteria.
Yeah.
Same thing. And then we feed them lunch. And as we're feeding them, we talk to them about what they learned, what they saw, and the food that's on their plate that wouldn't be there if it wasn't for the bees.
Yeah.
And this is what we do now in the classroom.
Yeah.
Except we don't take them out on a tram to see the bees, and we don't take them into see extraction, but we feed them while we're there. So, side note.
It's getting there though.
What I do is I bring an air fryer, and I feed them biscuits and honey and fruit.
Oh, cool.
Cut up fruit. So while I'm talking to them, the air fryer's going, and it's heating up the biscuits, cooking the biscuits, and it's making it smell real good in the room. And then as I'm finishing up, what's that smell? Sure does smell good. Does that smell good? And the kids, yeah, they've been smelling it the whole time. It's biscuits that smell good, right? Y'all want some biscuits and honey? Yeah, they love it. Oh yeah. So now I feed them biscuits and honey and some fruit, and that's when I talk to them about what they learned. And if it wasn't for the bees, you wouldn't have that fruit right there to eat and honey to eat. And so same kind of thing, but whenever we bring them to the facility, feed them. This is why they're important to us. And then they can come back into the main area and have exhibits that they can look at, observation hives, literature, restroom, nurse's station, gift shop, that thing. Yeah. And then put them back on the bus, back to school. Yeah. Give them an experience that they will remember forever.
For the rest of their lives. All right. What has been the hardest part of carrying a nonprofit identity and a removal business identity at the same time?
It's not hard. Not hard at all. It goes hand in hand because I'm teaching kids about how important they are, and we got to save them. And then you'd like to think I'm walking the walk. Yeah. With the removals. This is what we do. People ask all the time, what do you do with your bees when you remove them? Well, lots of times I give them away. I don't keep them all. Lots of times I give them away. I can't get to if I have 100 colonies, it would be hard for me to sustain it alone. Yeah. That many colonies, plus my removal, plus my son, plus my home. You know, it's a lot of work. So gotta maintain. Yeah. And I tell them that we use them for my nonprofit to teach kids. Yeah. About bees.
Where have you made a judgment call in bee work that taught you a lesson a very hard way?
I mean, I want to go to my accident when I fell, but I mean, you learn. I didn't know that I could do a certain thing a certain way, I guess, back then, and maybe might have prevented it. But I can't really think of anything specific that would change my mind about something. Yeah,
I mean, trial and error, you have to go through that to know how to do it better.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. For sure, trial and error makes a big difference. Yeah, school of hard knocks. You don't really want to go through too many hard knocks when you're dealing with tens of thousands of honeybees that might want to kill you or somebody around you. You want to. I see, and I've told Henry, I've seen videos where people are doing removals and there's bees all over the place and they're suited up and bees are everywhere. And to me, that's a big no-no because that's when things could go awry. That's when they could have problems. If a bee is just there on the honeycomb, great. But if it's flying around, it can hurt somebody. Yeah. Doesn't mean it's going to, but it can. Yeah. And so you want to prevent that type of thing. In the beginning, I wound up in a couple situations like that where the bees are going crazy, and I didn't quite understand how to manage them. Fully suited, of course, but now I've learned. Like I said in the beginning, you listen to Mother Nature, she'll talk to you.
Have bees, working with bees, changed your temperament as a person?
Well, I don't know if it's that or getting older.
Do you like the idea of working by yourself? I'm sure that's peaceful
I don't
in
mind
itself.
it. I don't mind having helpers either, because once I'm done, especially if I'm working outside and I've got all the bees taken care of, now I got to clean up and pack things up. When I have a helper, that's when it's their time to shine.
Yeah.
So they come in and they're already getting things cleaned up and packed up. That way, I don't have to spend another hour doing it. It's a lot easier on me. Makes the day go by a lot smoother. But for the most part, if I'm doing 10 jobs, I'm doing 8 of them, 7 of them by myself.
Yeah. How many?
If I'm up on a high on a ladder, then I always look for help.
Yeah. How many removals have you done in a day? What's the most?
I've done 3, but I keep it down to 1.5.
Yeah.
I might start one today and then finish it tomorrow and then start another one tomorrow and then overlap them sometimes, depending on how busy I get. But I don't mind doing one a day.
Yeah. If a child you taught years ago remembered only one sentence from you as an adult, what would that sentence be?
Preservation through education.
Preservation through education.
Yes, that's our motto. Preservation through education. We don't teach kids how to be beekeepers. We focus our efforts on teaching them how to be keepers of bees.
What's your go-to honey? What flavor do you most look for, or do you?
Mine.
Yours. Texas wildflower honey, I'm assuming.
Well, I don't subscribe to labeled honey like that.
Yeah.
Wildflower honey, clover honey, organic honey.
Yeah.
No, because you don't know for sure exactly what they're feeding on, foraging on, unless you have them sequestered. So anytime I see something that says, oh, Texas wildflower honey, how do you know?
Yeah.
You don't. But it's great for marketing, advertising.
Yeah.
You can get a couple extra bucks out of it, but just natural honey.
Is there anything that surprises you still to this day?
No. I've seen some things with bees before that were pretty amazing. But as far as surprises, no, not really.
Yeah. Have you ever saw a bee, I'm sure you have, or some type of insect get drugged out of the colony?
I have. I've seen bees attack a wasp and overheat it to death.
Oh, wow.
I've seen that with
In
my
person,
own, with my
close
own eyes.
up.
Yeah, one of my colonies. I've seen it happen. I've seen bees fighting all the time when you're doing a removal and you have robbers that come in and then they start to fight. You see that happen. The most amazing thing that I've ever seen, it brought tears to my eyes, that I've ever seen a bee do, which shows how dedicated they are to the hive, to the colony, to the survival of the colony. I was smoking, they were in the wall outside. There's a gap about this wide, and you could see the honeycomb, about this much of the honeycomb. The rest of it extended up into the cavity. And then there was a ledge right here. So I'm smoking the bees to move them off of this part of the honeycomb so I can get this out, and I want to corral them over just to vacuum them up. Well, as I was smoking, my smoker back then didn't have a screen in it. And an ember shot out of the end of the smoker and hit the honeycomb and then landed on right here, about that high. There's a ledge, landed right there. And a bee came from inside the honeycomb straight to the ember, landed on the ember, grabbed it, and started moving it away from the honeycomb.
That's cool.
And died on the ember to keep the honeycomb
safe
from catching on fire. And I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw that.
That's sacrifice right there.
It just brought tears to my eyes. I cannot believe that I just saw that bee sacrifice its life the way it did.
Yeah.
And they sacrifice for the hive, for the colony already. When they sting you, they die.
Yeah.
They don't want to sting you, but they'll do it without hesitation.
Yeah.
They will. But to do that, it was totally heartbreaking and amazing at the same time.
That's cool, I bet. Well, today on Buzz and Brew podcast, we talked to Mr. Carlos, who shared his knowledge, who shared his commitment, his public service. He shared just about what he knows. And if you want to learn more about him, you got to talk to the source directly, because this is a man of 16 years. So I have nothing on what you have in 16 years, but I thank you that you gave us the pleasure and the time to just learn about your life a little bit. But now you're a man that,
I stay home,
yeah,
get up early, take my kid to school, I go to work, pick my kid up,
yeah,
go home
and work with some bees.
every day.
Yeah, and you wouldn't look back.
No, not at all. I mean, I might look back to see my feet, my footprints.
Yeah.
I said, you want to always remember where you came from.
Yeah.
And make sure I'm still going in the right direction.
Yeah. Y'all, thank y'all so much for tuning in to Buzz and Brew podcast. I'm Zenaria Brown. Like I said earlier, the queen, not the queen of the hive, but the queen of Farmer Brown & Co., this family here, and Mr. Carlos. Check them out, and y'all stay tuned. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment what you learned.